Hey everybody. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that when you first start the protocol, when you're drinking the jelly juice, you're going to be in pain and you're going to have to deal with past, present, and future triggers. And when you get to the point of where I'm at, where I've put in the time, I've put in at least 3 years, you're going to earn the right to not have the pain. You're going to earn the right to have the waterfalls, but no pain. Okay. And so if you do the jelly juice and you are in pain and you have healing and all this stuff, it means that your body still has an adjustment to the new environment, which is the massive amounts of nutrition in the cabbage, kale, water, pink Himalayan salt that is fermented. Okay. So if I drink the jelly juice after a while and I have a tiny headache, well, my body had to readjust to the new environment. And so yesterday I had a tiny little bit of a headache, had the waterfalls, but that's about it. So today I'm going to drink another 4 cups to see if I'm going to have another like a little tiny headache or anything like that, because what you're trying to do is drink the jelly juice and reverse all of your issues. How are you going to know that is when you're in pain, because that is the healing process. When you apply the wrong chemistry to your body, such as all the different therapies, the body will be trying to adjust to that new environment and then try to heal. And then you will see systematic degradation because you're applying the wrong chemistry, because the body will continuously try to heal. Okay? And so that's when you have to understand what kind of chemistry you're applying to your body to understand why the pain is happening, and that you will actually have an end result. I mean, you'll actually have an ending to the pain where you have healed and sealed. Okay? So this is for those of you who are just starting the protocol and you're having trouble, like you're about to throw up and you're just like, oh my God, or you are throwing up during the protocol, or you are in pain during the protocol. Well, yeah, you just started the protocol. You're going to be in pain, and you're bringing in the right nutrients so the body can finally heal and seal and fix the weaknesses that you have sustained from applying the wrong chemistries to your body. So if you are in the holistic world applying turmeric, or you're going into homeopathy and you're applying all these different pain mitigation protocols like turmeric and honey and kombucha and supplements and therapies and healing chakra stuff and all this meditation and yoga, everything that's in the holistic world is the wrong chemistry to apply to the body, because it's all about pain mitigation. Okay? Now, you also still have to prioritize your life, and you have to go to work, or you have responsibilities. And so when you do the J juice, yeah, you're going to bring up pain, but then you don't want to be in mass amounts of pain while you go do a presentation. So then you go and find something from your doctor that's a strong enough prescription medication, or something that you know works for you, that can kind of get you through a specific temporary situation, like giving a presentation and you want to get rid of a headache. Doesn't mean that that specific therapy is going to work at that point in time. Okay? So that's the only reason why you would apply anything holistic or anything allopathic, is if you're on a prescription drug and your doctor requires you to do that, or you're trying to get through a situation such as picking up your kids, driving a car, or giving a presentation in a company, so that way you can still keep your job. And that's where those of you who are very, very busy are going to have to balance those two out. Okay? So if you just came onto this protocol and you're thinking you're going to apply all of your little detoxes and remedies and healing chakra stuff, and you're going to try to implement all this stuff that you've dealt with in the homeopathic world, and then try to do J juice, your potential could be undermining your healing progress, your healing process. So this is for those of you that are very, very new, that have cancer, and you are such a proponent for the holistic world. You don't realize that those therapies, those drug therapies, those spiritual therapies, the immunotherapies, the chemotherapies, the cannabis therapies, all the different therapies that people have introduced to you in the holistic world actually will cause you more damage. Okay? And then you try to do the J juice and you bring up pain and you're just like freaking out, and then you go and take all your remedies, I mean, then you're at an impasse. Then you're constantly fighting yourself. And it's going to be a longer, drawn out process versus if you can try to withhold from all the different therapies, unless it's prescribed by a doctor, and you just deal and steel yourself to deal with the healing process. And it's going to be freaking painful for those that already are in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 cancer. And I understand that you want to deny chemotherapy, and I get that, but sometimes it's necessary if you have a very aggressive cancer. And then once you are in remission, and then you down the J juice. And we have people that have done the chemotherapy. They are post-chemotherapy. They survived the chemotherapy, and now they're doing J juice. They're feeling the healing come up in the areas where they remember the pains during the chemotherapy process. They're revisiting the past, present, and future triggers from applying the wrong chemistry. Even though it gave them a stay of execution, it still would, if they hadn't changed the chemistry with the J juice, they would be on a very systematic soft pedal to the next disease or death, or they would be hard pedaling to the next disease or death. That's what I talked about the therapies earlier on today, is that when you are born imbalanced, and you are born already taking part in the therapies in the world. And then those therapies hard pedal and soft pedal you to the next disease. So you have imbalance, you have then a therapy, then you have side effects, because side effects is a body dealing with the wrong chemistry being applied, and then it's also trying to heal at the same time, because what it really is the body adjusting to an environment that is actually, it's new, but it's not the right chemistry. So that's why you see symptoms, because the body's trying to adjust. That's why symptoms in the allopathic holistic industry and then symptoms in the J juice world are basically similar, because it's based upon what chemistry that was misaligned with your chemistry, and the body's trying to adjust, but it's not the right chemistry, or you wouldn't be having all these different side effects. And then the body tries to adjust, you get into a homeostasis, you bring in all these different therapies to then alleviate the pain. You think you've healed, but you haven't, because now you're dealing with cancer. So every single therapy you did, whether it's in the holistic or the allopathic world, keeps paving and laying the groundwork for the next disease, the next issue, the next then event where you may not even survive it. Okay? So this is how you have to look at the J juice. So you all be like, oh yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll try the J juice. There's no trying J juice. Either you do it or you don't do it. Either you do it or you don't do it. Either you want to live or you want to die. There's only two options in this world, life or death. And it's all about the right chemistry you apply to the body. You apply the wrong chemistry, it's going to be then a systematic degradation. And some of you will prolong that systematic degradation because you brought to the table a lot of insurance. What's the insurance? All the minerals, all the different nutrients that you were lucky enough to be inherit from your ancestors, because they didn't completely destroy themselves prior. Okay, but some of you inherited some major weaknesses from your ancestors. So you already brought to the table major weaknesses, and then you're dealing with cancer, disease, chronic illness, and then you're applying the wrong chemistries like homeopathy, allopathy, homeopathic, allopathic, holistic, the yogas, the exercises, the hot saunas, the hot yogas, the stretches, and those will systematically degrade your body. Because look at all these people in those industries, in those fields. They're aging, or some are so young they look cute, so they're a great little salesperson for their little protocol in their therapy, but they believe people should die at some point. They don't believe in indefinite life. You ask any of those people that are in your holistic group, do you believe that people should live forever or live indefinitely? They're like, no, you're supposed to die at some point. But even if they say, oh yeah, I believe people should live indefinitely, no one actually says that except for people in the Jilly Juice world. That's why we're so weird, because nobody can fathom that a body can actually regenerate under the right conditions. Okay? And it's not just managing your symptoms, not just managing your little cancer. It's not just managing your little autoimmune disorder. It's not just managing your baldness on your head. It's a complete overhaul of your body, mind, and spirit in all of your 11 different systems. Okay? And when you go into this protocol thinking that your cancer is going to be reversed, it potentially could, but you also have 50, 60, 100, who knows how many other issues and whatever trauma you sustained in the past. And then how you dealt with those traumas with the different therapies and then sustained more traumas, because even the therapies create trauma on the body. So you kind of double dipped in the trauma by having that trauma happen initially, like a car accident, and then you're applying all this colloidal silver and now, and all this honey and whatever it is people do in the holistic world, then it creates another trauma on the body. And now you have to heal from that. So when you're doing the J juice, not only have to deal from the initial trauma, but also the therapies that you applied to that trauma. So you're screwed twice whenever you deal with the holistic world and the allopathic world. And that's why it's very hard for someone who has let themselves get to that point where they're that bad and the pain is intense. And then they're going to be flipping out when they can't even get the drink in their body because they don't realize that they let themselves get that bad and they're going to have to deal with it. If not, then you have to then go back into the holistic allopathic. So I want to think positive for anyone that has cancer, anyone that's in dire straits, that they can do this. But not everybody is strong enough or understands this information well enough to really truly understand what it takes to actually heal, because they're still looking for the drugs. They're still looking for the shortcuts. They're looking for the easy way out. They're looking for someone to basically coddle them through the process. And nobody can do this drink except for you. You're actually really alone in this. It's you and the juice sitting here, right in front of, in your kitchen. And either you're going to drink the juice or you're not. Either you're going to deal with the pain or you're not. Nobody out there has any kind of tip for you to get the juice in, because you ultimately have to do it. Because whatever they do may not work for you, and it's probably not even appropriate, because even if you get it in, can you handle the pain? If you can't even handle the pain of healing, then getting that juice, doing these little, mixing it with other stuff, is not going to really make a difference if you can't handle pain, because if you can't even handle the smell of the juice and get it in your body and you're already having a freak out. Yeah, so you hide it under juice or something else. You still got to deal with the healing process. So you might as well just get used to drinking the juice straight. Hey, if you want to dilute it in the beginning, fine, but you really shouldn't, because you're not getting the condensed lactic acid, the minerals, the prohormones, any other of the minerals, prohormones, fatty acid, amino acid, all that stuff, the micro and macro nutrition. But if you want to get your body used to tasting it and smelling it, then either you do teaspoons at first, see how your body works, and then if you want to do it in a bigger version, like this where it's condensed, well, then you start out slow. I have two. This is actually 2 cups. So this is 4 cups. Okay? I can do a quart at a time. I could even do 3/4 of a gallon. I tried to do a gallon in one sitting and there was no way. Okay? But that is definitely, that's why I don't soft pedal this. I'm as harsh as can be, because this protocol is harsh. This protocol does not coddle the weak. You have to really, even though you're weak with your cancer and your disease and your chronic illness and you want everyone to treat you like you're special, I'm telling you, this protocol does not discriminate. Either you can handle it or you can't. Mother Nature doesn't discriminate. You know who discriminates? Man discriminates. Man coddles people. Man tries to give you insurance. And then in the end, you're living a prolonged death process. It's like you're a zombie. Man has created zombies. If it was up to Mother Nature, all of you would be dead already. All of you. Nobody on my Facebook watching would be alive, because you know what? You already have a weakness, and the reason why you're still alive is because of a vaccine or because of modern medicine. If that wasn't available, you would have already been dead a long time ago. And so would have been your ancestors. The reason why we have 7 billion people on this planet is because of modern medicine. Somebody believed people should live no matter what. no matter what kind of deficiency you have, someone believed that you guys should live. And so now here you are. But now when it comes to the J juice, this isn't some soft pedal, cute little cure that you're looking to take a shortcut in. You actually have to pay the piper for all of the chemistry, the wrong chemistry that you applied to your body. You have to pay the piper. But if you do put your time into this, Mother Nature does reward those that actually take personal accountability for their part in why they are where they are. Because nobody wants to die. But the reason why people do is because they're applying the wrong chemistry. And they're not willing to put forth the effort to actually heal. They want the shortcuts. So that's why I am the way I am. Because I know exactly who humanity is. I know exactly what they expect, especially when you've been trained by the holistic allopathic market to basically soft pedal your way until you pass away, to get all the different drugs and the detoxes and all the different things, the trendy stuff, so you can look cute and do all your little workout routines. But in the end, it bites you in the ass. And then you wonder why you are where you are. Well, because you're applying the wrong chemistry. So this protocol is not for the faint of heart. If you can even drink a quart in one sitting, you're well on your way. If you can't even get a teaspoon in, if you already thrown up prior to it, it's going to be a battle that, you know what, I hope that you can fight the battle and that you can do it. I don't have a lot of hope because some people are that far gone. I'm not trying to be depressing, but I'm being realistic. Some of you are relatively strong enough to be able to get through and be strong enough to go through the healing process. And some of you are not. But you will find out how bad you want to live because you'll put the time in. But those that don't are willing to take the drugs, the detoxes, the holistic, the allopathic, the therapies, and you're willing to do all of that over really truly taking accountability for your part in why you are where you are today. And some of you are so young enough it hasn't even hit you yet. But you see it in your family history. You have family members that have already dealt with cancer, disease, chronic illness, mental illness, and guess what? You've inherited those genes. Those are already in your DNA. Yes, you can reverse it with the right chemistry, but you got to go through the healing process. But if you don't change your biochemistry, guess what? You're going to end up like your parents. Okay, your parents are an exact example of the future if you don't change your biochemistry. And if you are genetically affiliated with them, then yeah, that's in your family history. Whatever they have, whatever your grandparents, your parents, your brother and sister, you hold some of those genetics. And at some point, they are going to express themselves. And then you will have to deal with how are you going to deal with those symptoms. Some of you are adopted, but you practice certain belief systems that have a specific result. Okay, if your parents are cannabis users and they're following Rick Simpson, guess what? Rick Simpson is passing away. He's aging and degrading, and he's on his way out the door. So if you are a major cannabis proponent, major cannabis user, you're going to end up like Rick Simpson or any of those Cheech and Chong. Okay? So you can see your future by looking at your parents, looking at the people who you follow, and you see where you're ultimately going to end up. And so those are major indicators that people don't even consider because they think, oh, I'm special. I'm special. It's not going to happen to me. Well, you're doing the same things that these people are doing. You have the same belief system, people should die, and that you should manage your cancer, disease, and chronic illness with imbalanced chemistry, but you don't think it's imbalanced. But I'm telling you, once you understand how the human body works, it's imbalanced. All right, so I'm going to just down this right now because I want to see if today I get another headache. Because yesterday I had a tiny bit of a headache, but that was about it. The stuff's intense. The reason why it's intense is because it is lactic acid from the lactobacillus. Okay, so it's acidic, but then what offsets the acids is the electrolytes. It's the minerals. And then you get the micro and macronutrition, or the prohormones, from the cabbage and kale that's been fermented and then pre-digested, fermented to a pre-digested state for easier absorption. So things, yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it's very difficult for some people, and it all depends upon your biochemistry. Okay, so yeah, this is so intense is because it's such a different biochemistry, but it's what your body ultimately needs. When I switched from the cabbage, okay, and then somebody that was on the protocol way early on, who was not on the protocol anymore, not that she died, but she's just not doing it, because we had differences of opinions on a lot of things. But she mentioned, why don't you do the kale? Why don't you do ferment kale? Because kale is really highly nutritious. I'm like, yeah, why not? I guess. So I applied the same recipe, and it's like, 2 cups of kale, I guess, or something. I modify it. And then the 2 cups of water, the 1 tablespoon of salt. And then I fermented it. And then it's really like very green, like iridescent green when it's been, when it's freshly made. But then after it ferments, then it becomes clear. The solids float to the top, and then it's like a clear iridescent green. And it almost smells like bacon. It has a very different, it's very, very strong. And when I drank the fermented kale, my body was smiling. Like, it was like all of my cells were smiling, because it not only got the cabbage and kale from my cabbage ferment nutrition, the vitamin C and all those different nutrients, but now you're getting the kale nutrition. And that is so densely nutritious. And so when you ferment that down to a pre-digested state and you absorb those nutrients, your body is getting now massive amounts of nutrients that it did not get before. And it can absorb it because now you've had like thousands and thousands of little stomachs, which is the lactobacillus, processing and eating up that cabbage and pooping out the nutrients. So in essence, you're getting like a regurgitated form of a very highly densely nutritious cruciferous vegetable. Just like mother's milk, just like regurgitated food from a mother's bird to a baby bird. Okay? So that's why this protocol is so effective. That's why nothing else out there in the allopathic holistic market really should be an option as a go-to, as a predominant go-to, because there's nothing nutritious in the allopathic holistic market. Just changing diets is really a short-term thing, but it's not effective. Just changing diets. Oh, I'm going to be a vegan vegetarian from being a meat eater. I'm going to go to the keto diet, the paleo diet, all these different diets. Okay? And all it's doing is, yeah, it's changing the biochemistry a little bit. You're upsetting homeostasis a little bit. You're manipulating your different systems a little bit, but you haven't healed and sealed. When you're taking in nutrition that your body can't even absorb and it can't even break down to the point where you can actually heal and seal, then you're wasting those resources. You're eating it and you're getting some minerals because you're still alive, but you are seeing yourself systematically degrade, and then you're dealing with malabsorption, and then also you're accumulating lactic acid or acid, fatty acid. You're accumulating imbalances in the prohormones. You have an imbalance in the nutrients, because nutrients are nutrients, but how it impacts your body will tell you whether it's poisonous or whether it is nutritious. Nutritious is when the body is able to take advantage of the food you're bringing in and then you're maximizing it, and then the body's able to release the excess, and then you see the specific measurable result is you reverse the aging process. You start seeing all of your different cancer disease, chronic illness, and everything else go away, not because you're utilizing the wrong chemistry, it's because you actually go through the healing process. Okay? And so so this is, I mean, so we've cornered the market. We've cornered the market. Okay? Nobody in the allopathic holistic world can compete with this information, can compete with the outcome. However, what they specialize in is pain mitigation and then playing with your hormones or playing with drugs. So either you drug yourself with your own hormones by manipulating different parts of your body in the allopathic holistic, or you take a drug, or you take a kombucha, or you take an apple cider vinegar, or you take a detox and cause more imbalances to the body. So nobody can compete with this, but you got to put in the work. And it's only you that can do this. Nobody else can make you do this or give you any, make it easier. Because I'm telling you, even the amount of coaching I did with some people, the amount of coaching, even Kevin has put his time with some people, they still do what the hell they want to do. They will still modify the recipe based upon their comfort level. And some actually got off the protocol. They're not doing it because they can't handle the healing. So no amount of coaching or begging somebody or trying to make it easier for them with all these different tips is not going to make a bit of a difference if the person is not committed to themselves. I can't be committed to you. Kevin can't be really committed to you to see a result. He can only give you information. But even then, that information isn't always going to be working for somebody because they have a different biochemistry. So we can only give you information, but you guys actually have to apply it to yourself. Thank you, Kevin. And some of you will not apply it because you have issues. It's easier to go turn to the allopathic holistic. So I don't make any promises that you're going to be able to do this protocol. I really don't. And actually, I don't have a lot of hope for some of you because I know some of you are very, very weak. And then some of you aren't. Some of you already kind of know that you're not made for this protocol, but you want to give it your best shot. Some of you do not have the support system out there. You have people already saying that this is dangerous and this is this and this is that, and you're already that weak, you're going to listen to them, and it's easier to just take a drug. And so that's why I am the way I am. Because I already know if I'm pretty harsh and I'm pretty like in your face, not playing your manipulation games, and you don't like me and you can't handle me, you're going to hate the protocol even more. And I guess that's how Mother Nature kind of figures out who deserves to live and who deserves to die, I guess, right? Because some people, when you fight, you got to go through the pain. If you want to fight for your life, you got to do it. No one else can fight for you. You got to do it. So I am the way I am is a kind of a barometer to let you know. It's an indicator. The way I am is an indicator of the fight you got to go through. Because I'm a fighter. And this protocol will fight for you, but you also have to fight for yourself. And some of you will not fight for yourself because you want someone to coddle you. You want someone to coach you. You want someone to hold your hand. And I'm sorry, but you're going to be in that house by yourself looking at this going like, oh my God, do I want to drink this or do I not want to drink this? And if you're very articulate already and you need support from your community, get on Facebook Live and do what I do. Take in the hormones, take in the energy, and then it incentivizes you to just take it in and just forget what it tastes like, forget what's going to feel like later, and you just get it in your body. Now, I wish there's a way to get a feeding tube, right, for some of you who don't want to taste it, but you put it in your feeding tube. That would be awesome. I'm thinking if somebody was in hospice or somebody was like incapacitated and they're like paralyzed and they couldn't really drink it, or they have throat cancer or something, that you put massive amounts of this J juice in the feeding tube. I don't know about massive, but however you can, as far as getting it in. Yes, Krista. But yeah, I mean, I think if you can get a feeding tube, that would be awesome. So that way you don't have to taste it, but you'll feel the healing of it. So that's really, but that's the thing, is that they're not even going to do that in the allopathic holistic because you still got to feel pain. And the allopathic holistic is not about experiencing pain. It's about mitigating pain. It's about taking out all of your hormones that bring up the pain sequence. That's what they're trying to do now in the pain clinics, is they're trying to figure out how they can manipulate your hormones to then suppress the prostaglandin hormone. That's the hormone that gets expressed when the body is going through inflammation and it's trying to heal. It aids in the healing process. And then the sensation lets you know that it's working on stuff. That's why you feel pain, because that way you know you're alive and the body is working on you to make sure that it can keep you going. But you try to suppress those hormones and you try to suppress the pain process by all the different therapies. Guess what? One day you're going to wake up and you'll be out of gas. Well, you won't wake up. One day you'll be out of gas and you're not going to wake up, or you have some major heart attack or stroke. And you don't survive it. Michelle Clover, I started the protocol but stopped as I felt completely unprepared. I'm now researching as much as I can, reading your book and watching videos, and I'm now in a different headspace to start again. That's great. That's great. And I have all the hopes in the world for you, Willow. All the hopes. Okay? However, you're the one that's going to have to do it. And it's a slow process, but if you just keep a good steady stream of the stuff coming in on a daily basis in some way, and you stay on the diet, and you you know, and even then, some people have to still turn to some foods that are off the diet for whatever reason. Okay, but the real nutrition is in this. All right, I'm gonna drink this, and I gotta go pee. Actually, I'm gonna go to the restroom right now, real quick. I'm not pooping, I'm peeing. So I have to pee. So sometimes in the beginning you'll have to pee, and that's fine. And then when the body is like, I'm kind of cold right now, is wanting to push out everything that's in your intestine. I only had a few pieces of pizza yesterday. So yeah, temperature, you know, shifts and all that. And I'm drinking a lot when you think about it, because it's like a quart is a lot. And I only had a cup of coffee this morning. All right, I'm gonna down this. But Willow Michelle Clover, start out small. Do a teaspoon, do a tablespoon. If you can do a tablespoon and you're fine, and you know, and then maybe you double up and do 2 teaspoons the next day, or the next hour, and then maybe the next day, or maybe you do it by, you know, by hours, or you do it by day. You see what 1 tablespoon does by day, and then you see if there's any pain, whatever, and then you just keep increasing the dosage, and you see how it affects you. You see what kind of healing you experience. And it's just, you keep systematically increasing to what level you can handle the healing process. Not everybody can handle mass amounts of healing right off the bat. Some have to really transition slowly on this. And some could be like, you know, bam, drink up a bunch of stuff. Okay, and then they're out there, you know, laying out on the couch watching Netflix, because that's all they can do at this point, because they're trying to heal. So I'm hoping that, you know, that the industry understands that pain is healing. It's necessary. And if there's an easier way to take this, like in a feeding tube, where it's not, where like, but I don't know how effective that is in a feeding tube, but it might be, yeah, it still goes through your digestive system. It just skips the taste bud. And eventually, yeah, you know, your mouth and all your different, you know, body parts are going to get taken care of, even because it's going to go to your gut, and your gut is the centralized place to where it then leads to all the different paths to your 11 different systems. So yeah, your mouth and anywhere in your ear, nose, and throat that is getting the first initial hit of this will then get dealt with at some point. Okay? But yeah, I know a feeding tube would be so amazing. Oh God. All right, so I'm gonna drink the rest of this and slam it. I do have a little bit of water right over here. Okay. But sometimes you just have to, like for Willow Michelle, so you can get it down and you don't want to smell it, you can get like a cap with a straw, but even a straw is so slow. It's easier if you do it like this. I mean, if you drank alcohol and you did a bunch of shots, you know, you'd be doing a bunch of shots with this like this. but I just drink it like this. I have a glass straw that I did use before, but it's really slow. You can only get so much in a glass straw. So this actually is easier, just drink it like this. And it's like lukewarm. It's not too cold, not too warm. I left it out for a bit so the cold isn't shocking. So I like it cold, but not too cold. And I like it warm, but not too warm. So it's in a nice, not say room temperature, but it's a comfortable temperature that is relatively like the same as my temperature. It's not too shocking. So yeah. So Krista said, I use a straw and cover the whole thing with a towel at first. Yeah. You know, and yeah, because the smell can be rather offensive to very new for people who are just introduced to this. Okay. So this is the other two. I already did 2 cups. This is 2 cups. This is 2 cups. And these glasses are easier than the quart jars. Ooh, it has the... Woo! This stuff is strong. Yeah. And so I bet the reason why, you know, some people throw up when they smell it, because the body's already working the autophagy process. So Will and Michelle, if you've ever thrown up prior to even doing the J juice, okay, and you smell it, awesome, Crystal. You're already getting the nutrients, just the fumes, the energy of this is hitting your biochemistry. That's what's so really cool, is that just having it in the room is like healing. I mean, maybe the reason my husband, maybe through osmosis, that my husband and I have sex and stuff like that, he gets some kind of benefit of the J juice just by simply being around me. Because you don't realize how powerful the energy in your body and the biochemistry in your body, it just leaches out. And then anyone that you come in contact is going to be left in a better place than they were before. I mean, it's not as effective as drinking it, but at least maybe you could prolong a person's life. I don't know how long, but I would say that all of our biochemistry does influence our surroundings. And so, and I kind of see it a little bit. I really do see it. My husband's lucky to be married to me. Even though he's not doing it per se, he's done it. But I mean, at least when we have relations, he's getting some aspect of it, okay, in some way. Now, I wish he would take more, but I take what I can get. All right, here we go. Yeah, you got to be tough to be able to down it like that quick. And it is, when especially in the beginning, it is mind over matter. It really is. So, you know, I know a lot of my trolls would not be able to down that juice the way I did it. They wouldn't be able to handle the pain. You know, the reason why I have naysayers is because they know they're not strong enough to do this protocol. They know it, and they're pissed. And I'm sorry, but that's your own fault. You already set yourself up for failure when you don't even want to understand the information. And that, yeah, you got to pay the piper. If you want to really heal and seal, you got to deal with pain. And symptoms is a body trying to adjust to a new environment. But the reason why people die is because they're malnourished and they have malabsorption, and they have imbalances, and they apply the wrong chemistry. They apply therapies to their body. And therapies just compound their weaknesses. Just look at the chemotherapy patients. It's therapy. Anything with a therapy attached to it compounds the issue. And it just depends on what level of aggression or what level of extreme that therapy is, what it's doing. So yeah, some therapies are not as aggressive as others, but it's still It's the accumulation. It's the cumulative effect. Whatever therapy you apply to your body, it's the cumulative effect. All right. But if you want to just take all the therapies out there in the world, put them all together, just go do chemotherapy on a body that's already depleted, and you will see what those therapies actually do to people. Okay. I gotta blow my nose. So, whew. Wow. And I have not thrown up. I've come close to kind of throwing up on this, but no. And I think it's because the reason why I came close was I ate a bunch of food and then I drank the J juice. I drank like a quart. Because I go, I ate a bunch of food and now I want to go and see if I can process it really quickly. No, you don't want to do that. Because some people will throw up or they start waterfalling like immediately, because that's a lot of pressure. When you already ate food and then you drink like a quart or two of the J juice, okay, that's a lot of pressure. So the reason why people get constipated on the protocol is they don't drink enough of the juice. And the body is, when you're drinking the juice, it is like now removing the sludge on its way traveling through the body, and then it's going through your intestines, but you still have a very major mass amounts of poop, some sludge that is now being impacted. But you don't have enough force to push it out of your ass. Okay, that's essentially what the J juice is. It's the force. So if you're doing only a teaspoon or a little bit here and a little bit there, and you're not getting the waterfalls, but you're feeling bloated and constipated, you got to put more of the dosage of the J juice and drink water so you can get that force to then clear the pipes. If not, you're going to feel bloated and you're going to feel in pain and you're going to feel compacted or impacted. Okay, so drinking water is important. Drinking enough to, and then when you see that you plateau, but you're still looking like 60 or 70, or you still have your issues, then you have to keep up in the dosage. And some of you will have healing symptoms that'll last a few months, and you're okay with having a quart a day, but you don't see any significant changes, and you're doing a quart a day. Well, maybe once, like, or every other day. So let's say, once every couple weeks, you do like 2 quarts in one sitting. So you jump yourself up to the next level of healing. I did that where I would do like, a quart a day. And then one day I did like 3/4 of a gallon. Okay. I did 3/4 of a gallon. I felt like I was just so like top heavy and so like just really misaligned. And so then I sat on the toilet for a minute and then everything just came out, and they noticed another jump in the level of healing. Okay. So yeah, every so often you got to push yourself to the next level of healing. Because I don't have major cancer disease. I only had PMDD and I had hormonal imbalances. You can see it in my fatty acids. And then what is it? Edema, where it's the water retention. I had a lot of water retention in the beginning prior to the protocol. And then I had a lot of fatty acids. I was bloated and puffed up. Okay, so when I first did the J juice, the first 3 months, I started noticing the water weight go away, and then the fatty cells I shrunk my fat cells. That was one of the first things I noticed. Then I noticed my anxiety disappeared. I'd gone through some, healing symptoms around the anxiety, but for the most part, I was just like, wow. And then you go through the different fluctuations and all of that. Yeah, edema, I don't even know how you pronounce it. I don't pronounce probably half the stuff I talk about. I just make up my own, unless I go and look it up on Google to see how you pronounce it. But yeah. And then you guys, when you finally get to a point where you are very well balanced, body, mind, and spirit, you don't waste time with people who want to waste your time. You don't entertain those types. I mean, someone told me yesterday that they have a sister that runs a shop, and before she used to cater to every customer, regardless if they were, disrespectful or she knew they weren't going to buy anything. They were just comparing prices. But now she figured out in a very diplomatic way how to give her attention to the people she knew really was looking for her help and who was going to waste her time. But she didn't offend them, but she found a way to now prioritize the people that she knew was going to buy from her or looking for her help and assistance. Sugar, stop it. I hear you. Okay. And so then you'll know your boundaries. And you know how to balance out all of your biochemistry, and it will come out in your behavior. You're not going to be all about love, 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 or all about hate, 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 hate. You're going to understand it's okay to have a crossword when someone crosses your boundaries. And then you're going to take yourself out of the wars that are out there. And then you start cutting the fat in your life. And you might even change your politics to where you don't have the same politics. You're not an empath anymore. You're not all about the ascension and love, 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 and everyone's going to go fly off into, wherever. You're going to realize that those that are in those types of I don't know, personality situations like that have imbalances as well. And you've been feeding into those imbalances yourself. And I know some of you are in those worlds where you're all into the spirituality and love, love, love. And that's all that comes out of your mouth is love, 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 love. But you don't ever talk about, wait, someone crossed the boundary. I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to say something. I'm going to say a crossword. Oh my gosh. And you know what? You're not going to go to hell if you say a crossword to someone that has crossed your boundaries. Okay? But some people are so afraid to say a crossword because they're surrounding themselves with people who are all about love, love, love. They don't want to risk the hate, hate, hate. So, yeah, but if you're not doing the J juice, you're not going to understand where I'm coming from, because you won't see those shifts in your personality and your biochemistry, because you're so used to operating in a certain way, and you surround yourself with people who have reinforced the same imbalances that you have. There's no way you're going to notice any changes because you're not doing the protocol enough. And when you do, you'll notice that you will probably change friends or not have enough time for certain people or certain things because of the way in which they conduct their life and their imbalanced biochemistry. So I'm going to do my waterfalls. Okay, you guys have a great day. Bye.